Derek, first of all, congratulations on the new contract. Was it an easy decision to commit your future to the club?
Well, it was. Obviously, we've been speaking over the last wee while. We've been trying to get everything in place really, but we've had a lot of positive discussions with the board. You know, Cathy, Phyllis and Billy. Greg being a big part of that as well, about trying to how we see the club going forward, you know, and we've spoke often enough about trying to do things better to give ourselves the best chance. So obviously they've been very supportive of the club of what we're trying to do. We were restricted what we could do really in terms of budget this summer because we had a lot of squad under contract, but that's not always going to be the case, you know. And for my own part in it, you know, I think the club have got to be praised really for trying to put things in place. For me, we've made a couple of key position changes and we feel that will help us going forward. I'd like to have made those changes earlier, but for one reason or another we weren't all able to do so. But now we are up and running about this transfer window. It's important we attack the work in front of us now and try to be more ready to make the necessary adjustments in this window coming in January. But going forward, we want to try and be a team with value on the pitch, you know, whether that's coming through the youth academy or whether it's recruiting good players in, young players, whether it's on loan or permanence, from having good relationships with clubs. And I feel as though that getting those structures, getting Ross in particular to try and drive that will be a huge advantage to the club. So with all that in mind, you know, it would have been wrong first and foremost not to commit to it and want to be part of that after all that, because I feel as though as a manager you want to work for good clubs, but ultimately you work for people within the club, you know. And I feel as though the people that I've mentioned, you know, have all got a similar vision. We want to try and be the strongest Kilmarnock team, the best version of ourselves. So that's exactly what I want if I'm going to work here and put a demand on myself to try and drive that. And ultimately it comes with that responsibility. I'm delighted the club want me to take that responsibility on. So with that comes a lot of pressure with that, but you know, that's what I want to work. I want to work for clubs with ambition, and I feel as though that ambition is there.
You mentioned the youth pathway. We've spoken about recruitment a lot. Obviously the youth academy is kind of flip side to that. The likes of Bobby Wales, Stephen Warnock who got on Saturday, really talented players coming through. Where does the youth academy fit into your long-term plans at the club?
I think it's key for the club, for us to be is best served. It's important, I think, for any Scottish club, you know, and a club of our size, to try and get as many through into the first team. You mentioned Bobby, and Bobby's doing really well. Stevie Warnock coming on Saturday. Davy Watson's made his debut this season already. They're three. There's also another 2 or 3 without mentioning names at 15 and coming through that we're quite excited about. You know, the academy do a lot of good work. We've obviously lost a couple of boys to clubs down south in the last couple of years, and that can be quite disheartening, to be honest, you know, for clubs like ourselves. And because of the new Brexit rules, we are on the borders of the richest league in the world. We are kind of susceptible to losing players early. What we want to do and what's important for my point of view is when we speak to parents and players' agents and the players, young players themselves, that we want to try and make sure that Kilmarnock can give them the right pathway, and that's playing 80, 100 games for us, being part of a successful Kilmarnock team, getting that first team experience, and then eventually if they're good enough on the back of that, then they go into somebody's first team rather than somebody's academy. That is for us the long term plan. But for us, even for myself, to try and utilise the budget that's afforded to me, the more you can get through your academy, the more you get at the other end of it. So there's good work being done in the academy. I think it's important that we all recognise that we can still make those improvements, and for me it's to try to get as many of those young lads into the first team. At the same token, try to win games for the club, you know. So it's you could just flood your team with young players, but ultimately we're all judged on performances and results. But we're encouraged that there's enough coming through, certainly enough who are training with me every day in, day out, and it is an addition for them every day. And I see a confidence in Watson and Wales and Warnock. They have that faith in their own ability, but sometimes there has to be a patience and an understanding of where they are at. You know, Stevie was on loan at Forfar last year. Both Bobby and Davy were playing under 18s football. So it can be quite a jump physically to the Premier League, but at the same token they've shown enough that they're giving themselves a chance, that they're close and getting closer.
Loan deals are obviously key to development as well. A couple of players who signed loan deals last week, John Craig, Jack Sanders. What was the thinking behind it?
Well, John was one that we were keen to try and get out. Obviously, we've got the benefit this season of playing reserve football, although it's not every week, it's every 2 or 3 weeks. And he had the Colts game, the tournament as well. So John's one of those ones just on the outside of the first team squad, but he falls into that category where, like a few of the lads who are too old for under 18s, and we need to try and find regular game time for them. So the opportunity to go to Clyde's a good level for him. So we're pleased with that one. And young Jack's one who we feel, Jack's not that had that academy background. He's came up through non-league, and we feel as though he actually needs to go and play games regularly. Jack's got the athleticism and the speed and the size, and he's a really good age. Jack's one that we feel we have got hopes for, that he can be part of things going forward. But he is still a bit inexperienced, still a bit young, and while he played a part last season in the championship winning team, he wasn't by no means a regular. So we now feel we need to get him regular football. So would I rather keep Jack here for being a bit selfish and keeping him in case we get injuries, because injuries come and suspensions come, possibly, but it would be the wrong thing. The right thing to do for Jack's development is to get him out there playing regular football. He's went to a manager who I know well, Jim McInnes at Cove. He's went to the right level. He'll still train with us Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and train with Cove on a Thursday. But he's now got the focus of a regular game on a Saturday. So, you know, we've brought in players, and we've brought Lewis Mayo in as part of as a loan. It's not to the detriment of our own players, signed players. It's everybody's at different junctures, and I feel that Jack is best served going out and playing regular football with a view potentially to come back in January if we need him. So it's really for the next 2 or 3 months to get regular game time.
Just in the short term, obviously St Johnstone tomorrow night, not a great deal of time to recover after Aberdeen on Saturday. How's the squad looking?
No, we've plenty of time to recover, to be honest. I think physically we're good to go again. I'm grateful for having had the game, to be honest, and looking forward to the game. We've had a couple of positive meetings and a kind of debrief for the weekend and things that we can do better at, and you know, a lot of words said, a lot of honesty said about where we want to be and what we need to do better. But the best cure for any sort of hangover is another game as quickly as possible, and we've now got that. So I'm delighted I think we need a home game. I'm delighted we're at home for the next couple of games. I feel as though some of our better performances have been at home in the league, and hopefully we can produce another couple over the next few days to get those positive results. So that Saturday was disappointing, there's no getting away from it. Of course we can lose that game at any time, even by playing at our best. We can still lose to a team Aberdeen's quality, but we lost the game, I felt, through a lot of the part through our own downfall, and we've got to be better and smarter and manage the game better and be a wee bit more streetwise. But on Wednesday, with the home fans behind us, we're really looking forward to getting back to winning ways.
Any injury concerns ahead of that one? Ryan's a big loss on Saturday, Fraser Murray's well.
Yeah, Ryan and Liam Donnelly and Fraser missed the games, along with obviously Scott Robinson, who's working hard to come back. Fraser actually came in to do a bit extra on an international break and rolled his ankle, and could be out for we'll certainly be out for Wednesday, potentially Hearts as well. Liam Donnelly and Ryan Alabisu have got a chance to be ready for this one against St Johnstone. Failing that, we're hopeful both will be ready for Hearts. But you know, Ryan in particular has been doing really well for us, and you know, it was disappointing getting into that game at Aberdeen Saturday that we because of the result of a little strain he picked up on the Friday. It wasn't great for our preparations, but ultimately we just feel as though it was too much of a risk, because by hopefully missing one game, he's not going to miss too many.